Hello and welcome. I'm basically recording this video to help you because I know you're struggling with heads a lot. That is something that I was struggling with a lot as well. So 4 months ago, I started learning anatomy. I was sculpting here and there before. I had bought a few courses, tried them out, but I wasn't never really serious about this. And this is where I started. I was sculpting heads. So yeah, over the course of last 4 months, I've really improved. And also I've learned that there is a ton of information out there. It is actually very overwhelming. If you try to look for anatomy resources, if you try searching up anatomy, there are so many different approaches. The Loomis head method, the generic head method, this method, that method. Yeah, it's a ton of information. If you try looking into skulls, you'll see so many skulls, yeah, variations in the skull, female skull, male skull. It's just too much information. Too much information. And literally, I know how hard it is to get into sculpting. So I'm recording this video to break it down much simply and also just focus on the things that are actually gonna get you results. So my hope is that by the end of this video, you will be able to sculpt something like this. We are basically gonna sculpt a generic face, and I have this skull model that I made, which I will basically use to demonstrate the reason behind the steps that I take, behind the features that I add. So this is going to be a long video, but I promise you this is going to clear up a lot of things for you. This is going to make a lot of things easy for you. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible and as precise as possible with the least amount of time that I can spend on this. So first of all, let's go into sculpt mode and turn on symmetry. So what we're going to do over here is we are just simply going to pull the front down and try to get some sort of a helmet shape. Also, we're going to push the sides in and the front out. Okay. What this basically does is that it gives you a flat area over here. We need this flat area. And if you look at your head from the top, it should be some sort of an egg shape. But remember, don't pull it like this, because if you pull it like this, it's going to look very squarish. The widest part of the head or of the skull is the cranium over here. It's a bit low over here, but yeah, it's around over here above the ear. Okay, so this is the widest area. And if you want to pull it from the side, you want to make the egg shape, then you need to wait for the cursor to turn around. And once it tilts, then you pull out, because then you're pulling out this area. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So yeah, don't pull it from the top, but pull it from the side, because that is the widest area. So just give it some sort of a helmet shape. Also, we're going to pull a bit of this down to mark the chin area. So this is what it should look like. Let's pull it forward, smooth a bit, and then yeah, make sure it has some sort of roundness. Don't make it flat. Yeah, just keep it straight, keeping everything very simple for now. By the way, I am using reference. This is a head that I sculpted. I basically have included this in my course. Also, the skull is included. If you buy the course, you get everything with it, but you can also get these things separately on ArtStation. So yeah, check the link in the description. You should never be sculpting without a reference. So yeah, after that, just make sure you have this sort of a shape. Let's push this up and let's move this part a bit so that we have a jaw-like structure. Okay. So we have something like this. So basically emulating the jaw over here. Make sure to check it from the bottom. It shouldn't be round like this. Okay. It should be some sort of squarey and sharp, because we're making a male head. Okay. Once we have this shape, after that, just try to match the shape of the head, because let me move this up. And let's go to the side view. If you look at the skull isn't actually round. Okay. It's very blocky. Let me show you. So it slants towards the front, especially in males. Then we have this line. Then we have the highest point around here. Then we have this line. Then we have this line. This part is rather smooth. Yeah. This part is rather smooth. So yeah, it's okay. So we'll try to get this shape. Okay, just move things around till you have a basic shape of a skull. Okay, also I told you that the forehead, it really slants. So push this away, try to make it more aerodynamic and have some sort of a slope over here. Okay, I think this is a really good place. Let's go to the front view and let's compare some things over here. So you can see that the skull, it basically has this sort of an angle, this angle, and then this is going to be the widest area. Then it comes back in again. So we need to have this over here as well. So just make it sharper. Think of it as a bullet. It should be something like a bullet. Yeah, this is too high. Let's lower this. And from the front view, let's just make the brush a bit bigger and then push this in. Okay. Try to get a bullet-like shape. So this is a good shape to start with. This is something nice. What you want to do over here is just remesh. Let me turn on the screencast as well so you can see my keys. So what remesh does is it basically adds more geometry for us to sculpt. The alternative is Sculpt, and I don't really like Sculpt because let me show you something. So right now you can see if I just make the brush big and I smooth everything, it just shrinks into a tiny ball. That is because we are very low poly. If I make this really high poly, if I adjust the remesh value and I add this much geometry, now when I try to smooth it, you're going to see that it doesn't shrink that way. It's much harder to work with. So that is why I don't like Dynamesh or Dyntopo, whatever this is, because it results in inconsistency. Yeah, if you sculpt in a place where it is low poly, it's going to smooth. If you sculpt in a place where it's high poly, it's not going to smooth properly. So what remesh does, it gives you some sort of predictability. Yeah, it makes it more predictable. So yeah, your sculpting is going to be uniform wherever you sculpt. After you have this shape, we're going to remesh once. And you can adjust the remesh value by pressing R and then sliding your mouse. Or if you're using an older version, then I think it's going to be Shift R for you. And once you have the value, just press Control R. Okay. And let's mask an area for the neck. So after you mask this, press Control I to inverse and then just simply pull the neck down. Okay. The neck goes down and behind just a bit. Also, what you want to make sure is from the front view is that the neck is almost as wide as the jaw. That is because muscular males, fit males will have a thicker neck. And if it was a female, it was going to have a thinner neck like this. But we don't want something like this. Okay. Make sure that is as thick as the face, the jaw. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add some geometry over here, because right now you can see that we have this sort of an angle, but actually what you're going to see in faces, let me show you, is this triangle right here. Okay. This is very important. So don't miss this. Once you have this sort of a shape, just add a bit meat over here and just sculpt with a basic clay strips brush. Then you're going to see this triangle over here. Okay. So this is really important. And what we're going to do next, now we're going to mark the area for the ears. Remember that we're keeping the sculpt very low poly. Let's remesh once because you see some stretching over here. Yeah, remember that we're keeping everything low poly. Right now, the mission, the aim is to just get in the features. We can always adjust the proportions later. When we're making a generic head, it is important to just get the features in and not really fall into the trap of adding too much detail during the early process of a sculpt. Okay. And that is also a reason why we keep everything low poly. So basically now everything is low poly. And even if you want, you cannot sculpt the eyes. You cannot make the nose and the nostrils. So this is a really good approach. Keep everything low poly and as detailed as you move forward. So now let's go to the side view. Once you have this sort of a shape from the front, go to the side view and pull this back. Let's pull this back and make an ear shape. You know how an ear looks. So yeah, just make a rough shape for the ear. Now go to the front view again, and now you want to pull this in. Okay, just pull it in. Move it closer to the head and try to get some sort of an angle like this. Also note that we made the widest area behind. So when you see from the front view, you will see that area going behind the ear. Okay, that is something important to note. Now let's add the cheekbone. Now why are we going to add the cheekbone? Because cheekbone is a good landmark. And where does the cheekbone, and where is it located? It's located almost above the ear hole and it goes down. Okay, so you can see over here, even in the skull that we have, that the cheekbone slightly goes down. Okay, so just use a draw brush so that we can make a bulge smoothly and sculpt like this. Yeah, just simply make a cheekbone. Now push it in below it with holding control and then push it down once. Okay, and then just smooth. So we're basically just indicating this area, this mouth area. What we have drawn over here is what you can see over here. So basically I've made this area. Okay, this is what I've marked over here. And after that, let's just change our brush and let's go to the front view. Now we're going to make the eye socket area. Okay, we're going to make this area right here. Let me turn on symmetry. Yeah, we're going to mark an area for the eyes. Okay, so just go back to your sculpt. Yeah, you can move around objects by hovering over the new object and pressing Alt Q. So whenever you press Alt Q, basically you're just switching sculpt mode to the object. You don't have to go out, click on the object, go to sculpt mode again. So yeah, this is the shortcut to keep in mind. So now I'm using the draw brush again and gently, where should the eyes be? The eyes are located halfway the length of the face. Okay, so this is almost halfway. So I'm just going to mark eye sockets over here. Okay, don't dig in too deep, don't dig in too less. Just find the right balance. It's gonna be almost halfway between this length. Okay, almost a bit less than halfway. And then what you want to do is just push this area in, just like this. Also, what we want to do is mark the temple line. So what you want to do is just take a clay strips brush and then hold control and then push this line in. Remember that the temple line goes up and away. Okay, so up and away, and just gently mark this area. And then just simply, gently smooth. Now what we made over here is this area. This is a very important feature of the skull. Okay, and this is going to be very prominent in some guys. Now females are going to have this much subtle, but yeah, we want to make it prominent in the male figures. So yeah, we mark this area. Also what you want to do is take a draw brush and then carve a crescent pattern like this, like a U pattern over here. Okay, and then smooth. Now why did we do this? We did this to make the bulge of the eyebrow. Okay, so a skull has a bulge like this. This is very common in males, a very prominent feature in males. Yeah, females are going to have it much smooth. Yeah, make sure you make this bulge. Now you can see we have added this bulge. Let's go back to the clay strips brush. And let's remesh once. We need a bit more definition, a bit more geometry. Yeah, you're going to see something funny with the ear. So whenever you press remesh, you're going to see something like this, and it's okay. That is because the remesh value is too low, but that is okay. We always have to adjust things once we remesh again. So that is totally okay. What you want to do now is just add a bit of a remesh value. And now we're going to mark the nose. So where is the nose? If you look at the eyebrow region, okay, and then mark to the bottom of the chin, the nose is going to be halfway. So this is going to be the bottom of the nose. So just add a bit more clay like this. Don't smoothen this area. You need this dip. So just add a bit clay and then go to the side view and then push it out gently. Okay. So we're marking the nose. Also know what we're going to do is dig this area. Why we want to dig this area? Because we want to show this part of the skull. Okay. So there is a cavity right here and we want to mark this. So go back to your sculpt, take the clay strips brush, then hold control. Now dig this area. Okay. Dig in really deep, down and away. Okay. Down and away like this. Also, I used to think that this is also a part of the cheekbone, but the cheekbone actually lies much behind. It almost lies behind the eye. Even you can see here, that is much further behind. So what you want to do is just push this area as well. So take the clay strips brush, hold control, and then push this area as well. Okay. So we made this cavity. And now just gently smooth everything. Now we're going to add some details to the mouth. So just take a draw sharp brush and then mark an area like this and then move up. Okay. Now what did we do here? Basically we marked the chin area. So you can see we have some sort of a chin. Before it was like this. And after this it is looking like this. Okay. Also you can notice over here in the skull we have a dip for the chin with the teeth ends. So yeah, you have to mark this area. So you can see our skull, our head is coming together. Now what you want to do is the nose is not going to be this wide. So just pull in the front part of the nose and you want to create some sort of a taper. Okay. Just create some sort of a taper like this. And use the draw sharp brush to mark the corners. So just mark these corners. What we're doing right now is just creating a simplified version of the nose so that it's easier for you to understand. Basically, there are 4 planes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Don't worry about the geometry. Everything is low poly. It is totally intentional. It is soon going to come together. We are just making a generic face right now. Now let me tell you a common mistake. A common mistake is that people don't make the nostrils deep enough. So the nostrils are pretty deep inside the face. Okay. And in order to incorporate this in our design, what you want to do is go to the side view. Let's go to the side view and push the nose in. Okay. Push the edges of the nose inside. Push it all the way up. Okay. Push it, push it inside. Okay. This is very important. Always remember to push the edges of the nose inside. What we're going to do now, let's make a ball for the mouth area. Now, why do we do this? That is because the lips wrap around the mouth. And you can see that the mouth is actually very round. Our teeth are very round. So we need to add this in our design as well. So that is why we made the mouth very round. Okay, now we have something that is looking good. What you want to do now is add more definition. Let's decrease the value. Yeah, the lesser the value, the more density you have. So decrease the value and remesh once. Let's work on the ear first. And I know that you think ears are very tricky, but it is actually very easy. What you want to do is just think of a 9 pattern and a Y shape. Okay, so it's very easy. Let me demonstrate it to you. Just push it inside, thinking of this as a 9. Okay, and now you want to continue the 9 from the outside. So just complete the 9 from the outside and then push this area in. Push it really in, deep. Dig this area a lot. And now what you want to dig as well is this area. So dig this as well. Okay. So basically you created this sort of cavity. Now remesh once, so you have more geometry to work with. Push this area inside. This is the ear hole or the ear canal. And you can pull this out. You're going to notice this flappy thing on your ear. Yeah, this is what it is. Now pull it out, give it some shape. And remember that the 9 shape, it continues, but it continues on the inside. Okay. So mark this area as well. Make sure that you continue the 9 on the inside. And the Y shape, how are you going to make the Y shape? So this area, you already have this. Just smooth it a bit. Okay, make it a bit flat. Also dig in quite a lot over here because this is really deep. It actually curves in. And to make the Y shape, just flatten this area a bit and then on the edge, just on the edge, make a dimple. Yeah, just make a dimple and then smooth. Dimple, smooth, dimple, smooth. And then just wiggle this area. Just go to the front view and then wiggle this area so that you can pull the outside, inside out. Yeah, just pull this part outside a bit. And yeah, here, a very simple ear. Now we can always come back to this. Let's not spend too much time on the ear. And also something that is very fortunate for us is that the ear doesn't really account for a lot of likeness. You can never guess the character by just looking at the ear. So yeah, just learn how to make a generic ear. It's going to be universal. You can use it on any character you like. Okay, now let's work on the nose a bit. For the nose, remember I told you to make a taper. I actually lost the taper. So let's pull the edges out. Let's pull these edges out a bit. Let's smooth it a bit. Let's mark the triangle shape I told you about. So take the draw sharp brush again, then sharpen these corners. Okay, I'm doing this just to explain it to you. So from the front, you can see that we have this sort of a triangle shape. Now what you want to do is dig in this area, use the draw sharp brush and mark the nostril. And also remember that this part is very deep. It is very, very, very deep. You can actually, look at me. You can actually touch the behind of your nostril. So this is actually really deep. Do touch yourself. Not in a bad way, but yeah, for purpose of science. So push it inside and then smooth the behind. Okay, don't smooth the whole thing. Just push it inside and then smooth the behind. Let's smooth this area as well. So you see we have some sort of a nostril. So push in this a bit more. And then let's use the crease brush to tighten this crease because yeah, this part is really sharp. Also remember that we have some sort of fat pads over here. So just add a bit of a fat gently and then smooth. If you go too overboard with this fat, yeah, your character is going to look old. He's going to look very mature and you don't want that. So yeah, just be very subtle with this. And once you have this shape, let me just adjust the nose a bit. Look at from the side view. Just make it relatively straight. And once you have this, what you want to do is make the nostrils. So how to make the nostrils? Just go to the bottom view. Let's see if we have enough geometry and mark a bean shape. Okay. A bean shape with the draw sharp brush. The nostril is not perfectly round. It is actually a bean shape. So mark this area and do keep some sort of rim around it. Okay. You don't want this to be very thin. So if you run out of geometry, just remesh again and then push it again, remesh again, push it again. Okay. What remesh does is it basically distributes the polygons equally. If you still don't have enough value, just decrease the remesh value and then remesh again. Simple. Okay. So you see, I'm making some sort of a bean shape. And once you have this shape, you want to make this area thicker. This is much thicker. This is really thin right now. So make some sort of a ball over here. If you already have it thick, don't worry about it. Okay, it should have some sort of thickness. And now what you want to do is just use the scrape brush to mark the nose. Let me show you what I'm actually doing. So basically our nose has nasal cartridges and we want to follow this shape. Okay, the perfect nose to study this is Henry Cavill. So yeah, look at this nose. See, we have some sort of plane over here in the bottom, and then we have this nasal cartridge shape going on. So I'm going to show it to you how to do this. So just mark these two planes. Okay, and what you want to do is go to the front view and then simply move things around. So the nose is the narrowest at the top, then it becomes a bit thicker, and then it becomes thin again. Okay, and on the nasal cartridge, you just want to pull it out a bit, just gently, and then you'll have this sort of form. And now this looks really, really nice. Go to the side view and remember to push this nostril behind. Okay, it shouldn't be sitting on the edge like this. It's actually a bit behind. It's inside the face. Okay, and now it doesn't really curve in. So what you can do is just use the draw sharp brush and mark this area just like this. And also what I like to do is add some thickness over here and also make this cartridge a bit more prominent. So what you can do is use the draw sharp brush and then hold control and then pull it out like this. Okay, basically adding more volume to this area. Then use the draw sharp brush in reverse again and then mark this area. Okay, and now when you smooth this, it is gonna have a really nice form. Okay, so sculpting is a lot of adding things and then smoothing them. Also, let's crease this fold. Let's bring it up a bit. Yeah, this is looking really nice. Now we have the nose in. What's next? Let's work on the lips. So the lips are really, really easy. The eyes are the most difficult, so I'm leaving them for the last. Also, they need the most resolution. So yeah, I'm keeping them for the last. So let's go and make the lips. Now, where is the mouth? Where is the mouth? The mouth is between the nose and the chin. But there is something to keep in mind that the part in between is the bottom of the lip. Okay. So wherever you mark the center, this is the bottom. A bit above is the center. So just push this in, push it in, push, 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 push. And on the edges, you really want to push it in, really push it in. Okay. And now let's go to the front view. How wide should the mouth be? So imagine that your character has eyes. Okay. Let's just imagine. Okay. The character has eyes. Okay. My vacuum is not working perfectly, but yeah. So wherever the pupils are, the mouth is almost in the center of the pupils. Okay. That is how wide the mouth is. And once you have this sort of a digging, just go to the front view, go to the grab brush, and then move it up. Okay, move it up. Now, how does the mouth look like? Now, what things should be going on in your head? Basically, oh, did I render? Oh, I didn't want to render. Okay, so basically, what you want to be thinking is that an M shape. Let me move to the pen. Yeah, you think of an M shape. I'm drawing with my mouse because vacuum wasn't working. So think of an M shape and then there's a curve in between them. This might also have some sort of M shape, but it's more stretched out. And then we have an area like this, but this area is very flush. I'm going to show it to you. Okay. So right now I'm making the M shape. We have a good M shape. And now what you want to do is dig in this area because there is some sort of a dip over here in the mouth. So just dig, smooth, unless you get something that is satisfactory. Okay. And now what you want to do for the bottom lip. So the bottom lip, just take the clay strips brush, and I told you this is flush. Just push it in. Okay. Push this part in. And then smooth. Okay. Also, something important to notice that the upper lip, it points like this. And the lower lip, it points like this. Also remember that the upper lip is gonna be ahead of the lower lip like this. But we don't have that angle. How to do that? Just simply mask the lower area. Mask it like this. Mask, 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 mask. And then inverse. Go to the side view. Select a big grab brush and then push it in. Okay. Pull it behind. So you have the curvature I mentioned, and also the lower lip is behind. Another thing to keep in mind is that make sure to check your mouth from the top view and the bottom view. It should have a curvature to it. Okay. And it should be round because I showed you in the skull. It's really round. Okay. It's really round. So make sure you have this feature. Make sure it's not flat like this or flat like this. Okay. This is a very common mistake. It's going to look like your character is pouting. So just make sure to have a curvature. That is why we made the ball, so that when we dig inside, it's going to follow the curvature of the ball anyways. Okay. And how deep should the lips be? The lips are almost as deep as the eye line, but we don't have eyes right now. So I'm just going to push it a bit in just to be safe. Make sure that it has a good curvature. And this is looking fine for now. Also, you can see that when we make a straight line, it looks like the lip is smiling. So we don't want that. It actually dips a bit on the edges. So just grab the edges and pull them down. Okay. So that we have a more neutral expression. Also, the side of the lips, okay, it's going to have some sort of fat. So just add this, cut it diagonally and move it a bit over the upper lip. Just a bit, and then smooth. Okay. And now you see it makes a lot of difference. Also, what you can do is use a crease brush and then crease in the same direction so that this is a bit more prominent. So the edges of your lips are very creased. Okay. They are very tightly packed. So just crease this a bit and also crease the center of the lips. So we see that the upper lip is really sharp, but the lower lip is really flush, except for the middle part. So you can use the draw sharp brush to mark this area just a bit and then smooth. Okay. Let's also go to the front view. Let's check this. It's curving up. I don't like it. It should have a slight M to it. Okay. And it's looking really nice now. So what about the eyes? How to make the eyes? Yeah, the most tricky thing. We're almost done. We're halfway through. So about the eyes, just add a ball. Remember that we have eyeballs. I'm sure you know that. And our eyelids, they wrap around this ball. Okay, so just make some sort of a ball. Check it from the top and the bottom view. Make sure it has curvature to it. And once you add this ball, there is also a layer of fat above your eye. Let me show you. Okay, you see, we have fat over here. Let me see if I have a face example. Yeah, we have this. You can see we have the ball and then we have fat on the outer side of the eye. This inside is hollow. It usually catches shadow. But the outer side, it has fat that is covering the upper eyelid. Let's see if I have another reference. You can see over here. The fat is covering the upper eyelid. Even here. So yeah, this is universal. Everyone is going to have this fat that will be covering the upper eyelid. Okay. So that out of the way. So you have added the eyeballs. And now we want to add in the fat. So for the fat, just use the clay strips brush and then mark an area like this. Make sure to mark it more on the outside On the inside, it's going to be hollow because it catches shadow. Okay, and once you have this shape, just simply smooth everything. And how wide should the eyes be? The general proportion is that the eyes are one eye apart. So whatever the length of your eye, there should be the same one eye distance between them. And the head in total is 5 eye lengths. Okay, so this looks roughly in the ballpark. Let me still check. Okay, so this is 1 eye length. Oh, this is a bit shorter, but I think this works. Here's the 3rd eye length. Here's the 4th eye length. Yeah, it's a bit wider actually. So let's just shrink our head from the sides. Use a big grab brush and wait for it to tilt. Okay, you want to push in the behind and then push it in just a bit, just a tad bit. Okay, so this is going to do it. Also, I think the head is a bit too long. So let's just push this in a bit, or maybe just smooth this area a bit. Okay, from behind the head is going to be a ball. It's not going to be this prominent. And you see, I have added a lot of geometry now. So it's harder for me to smooth this area. And that is okay. Yeah, we're not really focusing, but yeah, okay. Let's not be lazy. Let's adjust this. I'm pushing the edges in so that it's more rounder from behind. And just smooth this area. Okay, also I think we need to add a bit more clay over here for the triangle I told you about. And then just smooth. Let's make the chin a bit more prominent. Let's make it, yeah, make it like this. Also, another thing you can do for the chin is if you feel like your chin is not really looking good, just use the draw sharp brush, hold inverse control, and then mark this area. Okay, just mark this area and then smooth. It just automatically makes the chin look a lot better. Also, you can introduce some sort of separation in the chin. Pretty common in males. Okay, just a subtle hint would do. Yeah, we have the eyes. Let's carry on the work with the eyes. I got distracted. So yeah, you have the fat now. Now time to make the eyelids. Now how to do that? Okay, we have some sort of eyes right now. And if you use the draw sharp brush, you can actually mark an area and see how do they look closed. Okay, so it looks good. I think we're in the ballpark where it is looking good. Let's smooth this area. Yeah, I don't really like this. And over here, do remember to mark the lower orbit of the skull. Okay, it's not going to be very prominent, but you just subtly have to hint this. It looks really good. Let's use the grab brush and then roughly move this around. Just make sure, let's imagine some sort of an eyeball inside this area and then give it some curvature. Yeah, the common mistake is that the eyes are too flat. They shouldn't be flat. They are very round. Okay, so we have this. It's looking good. Let's remesh once so that it's distributed equally. We can also lower down the resolution, lower the value, increase the resolution, and now simply use a draw sharp brush to simply carve out the eyelids. Okay, so I'm just giving a rough shape, a generic shape for an eye. You can look at any reference and follow any shape. Okay, and I will tell you something to keep in mind of. Here, pull out this part of the eyelid, the upper eyelid, and the lower eyelid is going to be below the upper eyelid. It actually overlaps it. Yeah, something to keep in mind. Okay, so we have a shape for the eye. What you want to do now is to just dig in this part. Okay, just really dig the inner part of the eye that you just traced. And an easy trick you can use to dig it in is to mask this area Okay, just paint a mask with the shape of the eye. Inverse the mask and then push it in. Just really push it in. Okay, so we have the shape. So what you want to do now is to just create a eyeball. So use a UV sphere. Now we use this so that we can get an accurate shape for the eye, an accurate curvature for the eye. So yeah, make sure that it's around the eye width, but a bit smaller. It is actually a bit smaller than the eye. Okay. And once you have the shape, go to the side view. I'm going to press Ctrl+3 and move it out. Okay. Move it into position. And similar to the mouth, I told you that the mouth has an angle. The eyelid also has an angle where the upper eyelid is going to be ahead of the lower eyelid. Okay. So something to keep in mind. And also a trick that I learned was if you want to make this line, if you keep your eyeball in the center, it's not going to work. So what you want to do is move your eyeball up a bit. Okay. So when you move it up, it's much easier to get this angle. Okay. And once you have this angle, what I want you to do is to also maintain some sort of thickness around the eye. Okay. So the eyelids are not going to be very thin. Yeah. Make them thick and try to maintain a constant thickness around the eye. And this part is going to go in. Okay. So push this in so that it wraps around the eye. Now let's remesh. Good. So we have the shape. Let's increase the density. Remesh again. And now what you can do is use the scrape brush to really flatten this area. It looks nice. And flatten the top as well. Also make sure that the upper eyelid is overlapping the lower eyelid. Okay. What about the teardrop area? The crunkle, I think it's called. So just move it down. Just give it a rough shape. It is actually not that important. But yeah, you can add it. Move it behind. You can use the fill tool over here. Or maybe just use the clay strips brush and to roughly mark it. Okay, it's going to be a bit more flat. Going to be coming out a bit. Yeah, and just simply smooth ones. Yeah, just flattening it a bit more. Okay, this looks nice. Okay, we're gonna add a bit more detail. I'm gonna tell you a cool trick that you can use. Also, let's increase this thickness a bit. Okay, what you want to do now is to just smooth this eye and mirror it to the other side. Okay, it's looking good. Yeah, the upper eyelid feels like it's not thick enough, so just move it. Yeah, it's looking good now. Okay, another detail you can add over here is to just push this in, because like I showed you in the examples, this part is really inside and it is overlapped by the fat layer above. So just push it in and now mask the upper eyelid. So mask it. What you can do now is to just simply move this fat layer down and over the eyelid. Okay, make sure that your brush is not that big that it disturbs this part of your eyelid. You don't want to destroy the shape. Just make it small enough and move the fat layer on top of the eyelid. And also using the inflate brush, just make it a bit of a blobby. Yeah, make it some sort of a flap that is like overhanging, hanging above the eye. Okay, it's gonna look good. And then just smooth a bit. Okay, from the side, you make sure that it's not affecting the silhouette. from the side view, it should be smooth. Okay. Yeah. Previously, you can see it was making a dip. We don't want that. It should be smooth. Let's smooth this area a bit. It's not looking nice. Carve in this. And then also what you can do is move it on the edge like this. Okay. Okay, this is looking nice. Also what you can do is just dig in a bit over here and then smooth. Let's make this a bit more prominent, the orbit, and then smooth. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of doing things and smoothing things. So yeah, let's adjust some things. Let's make some final adjustments. Let's go to the side view. Now, I don't really like this side view. It's not really looking good. Also, I'm not liking this. It's not consistent. Okay, well, let's adjust it a bit later. But yeah, this bump is first of all too much. Let's push it in a bit. The nose is too forward. Let's push it in a bit as well. I like keeping the features a bit close. Although this is a generic face, but yeah, I do want it to look aesthetic. I want it to look nice. Also, let's push this in. Yeah, and what you can do over here is that to emphasize the cheekbone, just dig it in a bit using the clay strips and then move down a bit. Because we have a fat bit over here as well, that is gonna be more prominent when we make this change. Okay, let's adjust the face a bit. Let's make it a bit more prominent. Focus. How long did this take us? Let me check. Yeah, around 48 minutes. Not bad. Yeah. Oh, the ear is really messed up. Let's adjust that. So we have a lot more geometry now to work with, which is good. So we can adjust things more precisely. But you see, we have the basic structure, so it's going to be much easier. Just take this part in, like really, really in, so that it curves around. And on the top, just make this Y shape. Yeah, the 9 is going to carry in inside. It actually moves inside. So yeah, just keep that in mind as you make this shape. So let's just make some final adjustments and then this will look nicer. You can see that the front shape of the head isn't really looking nice. So this is the widest area. Pull it out a bit. Yeah. You can see as soon as we do that, it just looks a lot better. Okay. Making sure that we have this egg sort of shape. Also, this is too sharp. So let's smoothen it out a bit. The brow ridge, you can see it's very round, very round. I don't like it this way. I like it to be rather straight because it adds a lot more to the personality. Also makes the temple lines a bit more prominent. Also, when we add a light source, you're going to see that this casts a really good shadow. So it looks really nice. So we have this sort of a silhouette problem. Let's push it in. I told you that the fat shouldn't really interfere with the silhouette a lot. The silhouette should be nice and smooth. Let's also adjust the chin. The chin is pretty round. I'm just going to make it a bit more squarish. Nice. Okay, and the cheekbone. You can see that the cheekbone is much ahead. It's around here, whereas the cheekbone is actually much behind the face. Okay, almost behind the eye. Just make sure that it is not a mistake that you're making. Okay, Earlier it was like this. It doesn't look nice. So we pushed it in a bit. Nice. Also, let's crease in this area of the lips again. Yeah, we have a generic head. Let's look at from the side view and let's make this down a bit more aerodynamic. Also, the ear doesn't bend this way. It actually follows the shape of the jaw. Yeah, so make sure it doesn't bend forward. And there you have it. You have a generic looking head. Let's move this in a bit because I feel like it's pouting. Let's just move this in. Also, let's turn on the shadows so that you can have a better look at this. Nice. If you want to join my Discord community, check out the link in the description. We do weekly challenges, we do weekly calls where we talk about productivity, not only art, but yeah, the productive side of it too. If you procrastinate a lot, if you can't practice, yeah, we discuss all sort of things over there. Yeah, I hope to see you there. I really hope you found this video useful. And subscribe if you like to see more content like this. I upload time lapses, I upload real time videos of me sculpting. So yeah, that is something that will really help you. Take care, and I hope to see you next time.